You buy the dip, you ride the pump. Then you ape into a meme coin. Forget your seed phrase and click a link you probably shouldn't have. Next thing you know, half your tokens are gone. Your wallet's acting weird and your portfolio's down 60%. Sounds familiar? Crypto is brutal when you make the wrong move. And the worst part, one mistake can cost you everything. But what if you could spot these traps before they hit? Welcome back to Captain Altcoin, and today I will talk about something absolutely every beginner should know. Worst mistakes you can make in crypto, and even more importantly, how to avoid them. Crypto is exciting but unpredictable. I can tell you, crypto is still relatively new and many people are still figuring it out. That means mistakes are easy to make. And in crypto, mistakes can be very costly. I've seen beginners and even some seasoned investors lose real money to simple errors. For example, one report says a lot of Bitcoin will never be spent because people forgot their passwords or sent coin to the wrong address. When money disappears, there's no undo button. That's why it's so important to avoid mistakes in the first place. But why do mistakes happen? I think mistakes usually happen because crypto is fast moving and everyone feels FOMO, fear of missing out. People see prices going up and jump in without understanding the project. New coins and shady websites pop up all the time right now. If you don't stop and think, you might trust the wrong person or click the wrong link or simply invest in wrong coin. Inexperienced investors often follow hype on social media or hear a rumor and buy without checking it out. Greed and excitement can override common sense. And when the market swings down or something goes wrong, that emotional rush turns into panic and regret. But keep in mind that you will understand even better why mistakes happen when we go through them. I will also share with you some practical tips on how to avoid them, so buckle up and let's start. First, not doing your own research, ignoring DYOR. I've seen too many people chase a coin because of hot tweet or a Reddit post. They don't really understand what they are buying. That's a big mistake. If you skip the homework, you might end up with worthless token or a scam. One guy warns that investing without basic education or research is a common beginner trap. Instead, I always take the time to read up. How does the coin work? Who made it? And what problem does it solve? I ask questions and look for reliable articles, for example, on Captain Altcoin, and not just random social media. Taking even a few minutes to verify a project can save you from a lot of trouble later. Quick pause before we keep going. If you're learning something new or you have made one of the big mistakes before, drop a like to let us know. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next analysis. Alright, back to it. Second, falling for hype and fear of missing out. Emotional trading is a killer. When I see prices skyrocket, I remind myself that what goes up can come down. Fear of missing out often leads people to buy at the peak. Binance's beginner's guide highlights the hype-driven decisions can make you buy at too high prices. I avoid this by sticking to a plan. I set clear goals for my investments and ignore wild rumors. If everyone suddenly agrees a coin will double tomorrow, I ask why and look for solid information. As the saying goes, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. We all been tempted. Some random token starts trending on Twitter. It's got memes, celebrity endorsements, maybe even a ridiculous name. And people are screaming, "This is the next 100x. You feel that itch, like if you don't jump in now, you'll miss the boat. But here's the truth. If you're hearing about it on social media, you're probably already late. I've seen coins shoot up like rockets and then crash just as fast. This year, I watched the Trump meme coin double in price overnight, only to lose nearly half its value the very next day. And it's not just one-off cases. It has happened many times with other cryptos. The problem with hype coins is they usually have zero utility. People buy them just because they think someone else will pay more. But once the hype fades, and it always does, you're left holding the bag. I learned to be extra skeptical of coins that go viral for no reason. I ask myself, does this token actually do anything? Who's building it? What's the long-term vision? If I can answer these questions clearly, I walk away. It's just not worth the gamble. I try to keep my emotions in check, no matter how exciting the market looks. I trade with a plan and calm head. Third, skipping wallet security. This one is huge. Crypto is digital, so security is everything. I never leave my coins sitting long-term on exchanges because exchanges can be hacked or go bankrupt. In fact, even big exchanges have suffered massive losses. Mt. Gox once lost 850,000 bitcoins due to stolen keys. And Binance had 7,000 bitcoin taken by hackers in 2019. If I had left coins on these platforms, I'd be out of luck. Instead, I use a personal wallet for savings. I always enable two-factor authentication on my exchange and wallet accounts. Many beginners underestimate simple steps like that. One article notes that people often forget to back up their two-factor authentication recovery codes. I keep my two-factor authentication codes and backup phrases written down in a safe place. Losing those means losing your coins for good. Key tip: always back up your private keys or seed phrases securely. By that I mean multiple copies in safe spots. Never share them with anyone. Treat your wallet password and seed phrases like they are your life savings. Fourth, ignoring fees and network details. Fees might seem small, but they add up. I learned that on Ethereum, for example, gas fees can skyrocket during busy times. I will never forget paying fees of over $200 for a single transaction, both in 2021 and 2024 during peak days. If I don't check the fee before sending, I might get surprised by a big cost that wipes out my gains. Ignoring transaction fees is a common trap. So I always double check gas prices or exchange fees before I trade. Also, make sure you're using the right network when sending coins. If you pick the wrong blockchain, your money can vanish. Always double check the network or chain field, especially with tokens like BSC versus Ethereum. I often send a tiny test amount first when I'm not sure. Fifth, falling for scams and fake offers. I cannot stress this enough. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Scammers love crypto hype. They post fake giveaways, pretend to be celebrities, or promise guaranteed returns. One guy lists common crypto scams: phishing sites, fake investment schemes, blackmail, fake support calls, you name it. Honestly, the FTC reports that crypto scams have exploded, a 900% jump since 2020, and many victims got tricked by ads or social media posts. And this is the report from 2023, so the percentage now is likely much higher. To avoid these, I always check URLs very carefully and never click random links in emails or direct messages. I ignore promises or guaranteed profits or quick riches. Whenever someone on Discord or Telegram says, "Send me crypto and I'll send back double," I remember that's a classic scam. I always use official websites and platforms, and if anyone asks for my private keys or seed phrase, that's an instant red flag. I've lost count of the stories when people were tricked by scams. For example, an NPR report told of a man who lost his entire life savings, over $300,000, because he thought he was investing safely, but it turned out to be a scam. I want to avoid ending up like that, so I stayed vigilant. Sixth, putting all eggs in one basket. No diversification. Crypto is very volatile. Even the biggest coins can swing wildly. I learned early on not to put everything in one asset. If I invested all my money in one coin and it crashes, I'd be in trouble. Instead, I spread my portfolio across at least a few different assets. I usually keep most in safe, well-known coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and only a small part in newer altcoins. This way, if one project fails, I still have my other investments. I also keep some money outside crypto, like in stocks or savings, so I'm not overexposed. Diversification doesn't eliminate risk, but it means one mistake or one market crash won't wipe me out completely. 7th, ignoring volatility and panic selling. This ties into diversification. Crypto prices go up and down fast. I've seen beginners panic sell on every dip, which locks in losses. For example, when Bitcoin dropped in early 2025, some sold quickly and then saw it rally later, missing out on gains later. TradingView released a report recently that panic selling of Bitcoin cost new investors more than $100 million in 6 weeks. So I remind myself that downturns are normal. If I'm in it for the long haul, I hold or even buy more on dips if I truly believe in the asset. Sometimes I set a simple rules, like never sell below a certain percentage loss, or only sell when I reach X profit. Not having a plan leads to emotional decisions, so I try to stick to my strategy and be patient. This is hard in crypto, but not impossible for sure. 8th, investing more than you can afford. Over-leveraging. Crypto can make money, but there's a big catch. It's very risky. I learned to only invest play money. Some people make the worst mistake of using rent money or taking loans to buy crypto. That's asking for trouble. If you bet everything, one bad swing and you could be in a financial crisis. I always tell friends to only use extra cash, money they wouldn't mind losing. That mindset makes it easier to stay calm, because losing it won't ruin your life. I also avoid high leverage or margin trading unless I'm very sure of what I'm doing, because borrowing to invest can amplify losses quickly. 9th, no exit strategy or plan. It's not enough to decide what to buy. You also need to decide when to sell. I often set goals or stop losses. Without this, it's easy to hold too long or sell too early out of panic or greed. In fact, experts say most crypto losses happened not because the coin was bad, but because investors didn't have an exit plan. I try to have simple rules like if it doubles, sell initials. Or I define a price drops percentage at which I'll automatically sell to cut losses. This way I'm not guessing under stress. Planning an exit takes the guesswork out of emotional reactions. When the market is pumping, I lock in some gains. When it's crashing, I only sell if it hits my stop loss. This has saved me from riding a coin all the way down without doing anything. Practical tips that help me avoid mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I've picked up a few habits that keep me a lot safer now than when I started. Even though you should understand most of these by this point, here's what I do almost every day to protect myself in crypto. I start with education. Before I put $1 into any project, I learn the basics. I don't invest in something I don't understand. Binance Academy, Cointelegraph, and of course, Captain Oldcoin are some of the places I trust. I treat crypto the same way I'd treat investing in business. I want to know the model, the team, and the risk. I double check everything. Every time I send crypto, I check the address 3 times. I copy and paste and still verify the first and last few characters manually. I always make sure the network matches the token. ERC20 versus BEP20 versus Polygon versus Base. It's easy to mix them up. When I'm unsure, I send a small test transaction first. I use secure wallets and two-factor authentication. For big amounts, I use a hardware wallet, one that keeps my private keys completely offline. For exchanges or smaller wallets, I enable two-factor authentication and sometimes even a hardware 2FA key. And I never store large amounts on exchanges unless I'm actively trading. I back up my recovery phrase. I write my seed phrase down on paper, not on my phone, and I store it in a hidden, secure location. Actually, 2 locations. If I lose access to my wallet, that seed is the only way to recover it. No customer support, no password reset. That's a hard rule in crypto. I only invest what I can lose. I treat crypto like a high-risk investment. I only use play money, stuff that won't hurt me if I lose it. I never use rent, savings, or emergency funds for crypto. And I don't go all in on one coin. I diversify and usually don't risk more than 5% on any single position. I don't chase hype. As I told you earlier, when I hear someone yelling, "This coin is going to the moon," I pause. That's when I dig deeper, look at the fundamentals, and decide for myself. I've learned to ignore random tips, TikTokers, and Reddit threads. Most of the time, if someone's yelling about a coin, it's already too late to buy it. I manage my emotions. This one's hard, but it's a must. I set my entry and exit points in advance. I use limit orders and stop losses when I trade. If a coin crashes, I don't panic sell. If a coin pumps, I don't fear of missing out in. I've learned that sitting on your hands is often the best move. Patience pays off more often than not. I stick to official channels. I only download apps from official sources. I double-check URLs, especially when using DeFi sites. Phishing sites are sneaky. They can look exactly like the real thing. If I get a suspicious email, I don't click anything. I go straight to the project's official site or X. I stay informed. Every week, I check in with a few trusted crypto news outlets and blogs. I follow some security researchers and blockchain analytics firms on X. That way, I know when new scams pop up or when big changes are happening. In this space, ignorance really isn't smart. It's expensive. I know this is a lot to think about. Crypto can seem overwhelming, and the worst mistake is to ignore the risks. But I believe if you stay calm, do your homework, and use some common sense, you can protect yourself. Avoiding these pitfalls doesn't mean crypto can be profitable, and it just means you're more likely to keep what you earn. Remember, never stop learning. Always question big promises and keep your private keys safe. With care and little wisdom, crypto can work for you instead of against you. Thank you for watching until the end. Now please help us by hitting that subscribe button and liking and commenting on the video so it gets to more people. Good luck out there. See you soon. This is Captain Allcoin signing off.